So this is how to make a region black and white. So the first thing, if you haven't watched video before, we made it negated, where when you click these, it negates the part of it. So if you haven't watched that, watch that already. And we're going to be swapping out our negate region for a new method, which we'll call black and white region. And it'll take the same parameters, two regions. So most of the code is actually the same for both of them. We can actually copy and paste most of this, and you could do this with most effect operations. And all that's going to change is this part here. So if you remember that it's BGRA is talking about, not RGB. So I've made new colored methods here, and this is basically just does the math from HSV to RGB and back and forth. So this is an extension method here operating off of color, and it does calculations to get the HSV, which will be given through outs, and this does the other way around, and you can just call this right here. Keep in mind that for this extension method to work, the class must be static. Right here. So, other thing, so the way HSV works is, you can see here, hue H is 0 is for red, 120 is green, 240 is blue, and that's like a circle. And saturation works like this and this. So if you don't know how HSV works, you can look it up, or you can just go to a color picker and you should be able to mess around with it. It's actually a lot simpler than RGB. One thing to know is that HSV, these are not the same. So if you see HSL, it might look like it's the same thing, but these are not the same, these are different. HSL is a little harder to work with because it has more to do with kind of more like a seeing approach, meaning that HSV, you can just change V and it'll just change, but if you just change L for this, it can actually change some of these, which makes it hard to work with, and we don't want to work with HSL usually. You almost never want to like use this in computations because it's just difficult. HSV and RGB though are great, so we're going to use HSV for this, because what we can actually do is we can get the HSV for each pixel, and then we can just turn the value to 0, which would just make it a form of gray. So the way we're going to do this is first we're going to get the actual color. So if we remember that it's BGRA, means we can, our blue channel, our green channel, this should be 2, this is our third one, which should be our red channel, and this is our green channel, and our blue channel is our first one, so we're going to put it here, since it's RGB, and I'm just going to ignore the other one, the alpha one, because if we just leave it how it is, it'll just leave it there unchanged, which is what we're going to want. So we can actually just ignore it and let it sit. So then we're going to create our new color here, and it's going to be methods.color from HSV. And so alpha, we can just put in 1, since we're just going to ignore it. Our hue is what we're going to be getting from this, so we could do call it try to HSV, and I have this as a try just because it has all these outs, which is how I formatted it long ago when I actually wrote this. I just copied this from an old project, but it'll always succeed, so you can actually just do this. So we'll just do double out double saturation, and we can actually do this, and it'll just discard it because we don't actually need our value because we're going to be just setting it to 0. We're just going to be hard coding it there, and we can use these. Or that's wrong. That's wrong. This we don't need. We're just setting our saturation to 0 because that's what it is going to be setting it. It's going to be making it a form of gray. If we set our value to 0, that would just make it all black. So we're going to use the same value. So how black or white it is, our hue, which actually won't matter. We don't actually need our hue, because when it's full gray like this, there is no hue going to be showing. So we could actually just do this. Now that doesn't actually matter much, because whether we have this or 240, if it's all going to be a form of gray, that doesn't matter. So we can keep like that. Then we can just set our red pixel to our green pixel to B, and our blue pixel, or no, green pixel, and then our blue pixel here, which is our first one. It's like this, to B. And we can leave our alpha how it is. So now, let's change this to black right region, and black right region. So if we run this, you can see it makes this black and white, and you can look and it makes sense how it is. Now this one has another cool thing where you can make those little inverse shapes like they did with the NEGATE before, but you can see how this works here. You can see that makes sense, and that's how you do that. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if it helped, and have a good day. Thank you for watching.